Okay, since we're talking about tracking today, let's take a look at some initial settings here. First thing I'm going to take a look at here is my audio interface settings. So I'm going to go ahead and click on X18 here because that's what my interface is. And you'll notice here the latency settings here. I have roughly 5.25 milliseconds of latency latency, which is absolutely fine. You just want to avoid very high latency. Generally, the higher sample rate you get, the higher your latency is going to be. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and create a new song. And you're going to note that the tempo and time signature are entered in here. 80 BPM, 6/8, that's exactly what this is going to be. So call my song Molly Malone. It's going to be a straight empty song. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set up my interface so that I have all the inputs that I'm going to need for this scratch track. So I go to Audio Setup. I'm going to add a mono track on input 4. I call that condenser mic. I'm going to add another mono track on input 5. I'm going to call that drum machine. And now I'm ready to create the tracks in my song. First one's going to be guitar, input left. Next one's going to be Vox, and that is going to be condenser mic. And the last one's going to be drums. And that is going to be drum machine. And there we go, we have all of those tracks created. Now, one of the things I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull up this mix window here, and we're going to talk about gain staging just a little bit here. So what you're going to see here on this drum machine track here is that, see this line here where it says -12. That's kind of an important thing to keep an eye on, because in the digital realm, -12 is equal to 0 in the analog realm. So essentially, you don't want your input gain to go over this -12 threshold, because then you'll get some distortion called clipping. So I'm going to go ahead and kick off the drum machine here, and let's see what our input level is. So let's go ahead and arm the track and kick it off. And you see that the drums are peaking just below that -12, so I've got a nice, good, strong input there, and that'll be absolutely great for our track. So let's go ahead and stop the drum machine here. Now let's take a look at the guitar track and see how that looks. So I'm going to pick up the acoustic guitar and give it a couple of strums and see what the input level looks like. Great, right up there around -12. So now, at this point, I'm ready to go ahead and track my scratch track.